Hello, everyone, and welcome to HISD's The PEP Talk, brought to you by the Family and Community Engagement Department, where parents are empowering parents by sharing their experiences and best practices for parent organizations. I'm Malcolm Thomas, a Family and Community Engagement Specialist, and today we will be hearing from two HISD parents who have had success with some easy but profitable fundraisers that any organization can do, whether they're new or whether they're already established. So, with that being said, parents, can you please introduce yourselves at this time?
My name's Emily Weems, and I'm a PTO volunteer at Field Elementary. It's a Title I school, elementary school in the Heights with about 440 students. And I have a kindergartner and a fourth grader there, and I've been volunteering on the PTO for about 6 years.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Toni Cervantes. I am the PTO president at Cornelius Elementary. This is my second year as president, full-time mom of four, and we are a Title I school with about 800 students, 90 faculty and staff, and almost 80 parent volunteers.
Nice. Well, thank you both. Thank you both so much for being here with us today. So we're excited to hear your best tips, your best practices, and tricks for fundraising. So we're going to go ahead and get started with Miss Weems from Field Elementary. We hear that you have had a very successful journey with Penny Wars. So can you share more with us about Penny Wars and what it entails?
Sure. So Penny Wars is a minimal, passive fundraiser that involves low volunteer um, commitment. And just to explain like how it works and how it generates funds, is it is a 5-day fundraiser where each grade in your school. So, for example, at my school we have pre-K through fifth grade, so we need 7 containers, and those containers are marked with the grade representing that grade. So first grade will have a 1 on it, and second grade will have a 2 on it. And for those 5 days, grades will go to their container and they will put change in it. So pennies, dimes, quarters, whatever change they have, they will put some not American change in it as well, and other things. But and then uh, they put bills into their rival grades containers, and coins earn them points, and bills subtract points. So bills are sabotaging or deducting points and helping classes rise above the other. And at the conclusion of 5 days, the coins are all counted, and you get to deposit that into your bank. Um, for us, Penny Wars, I've done it 2 years in a row. Penny Wars, the first year, we grossed about $2,999. And this is our second year of doing it. And it grossed over $4,000. I think it was $4,081. So that is what Penny Wars is. And when you are bringing it to your school, the very first thing that you would do is to go to your leadership and say, is this something you will support? Can we get approval for this idea? After your leadership gives you the thumbs up, you would then go and source enough containers to represent each of your grades. At our school, we also have special education, PALS program. And so because those are smaller classes, we combine those with pre-K. So there's only one pre-K class at our school. So after you find the receptacles or containers you're going to use, you would then decide where is an area in your school where children have access to it at least one time a day. For us, that was outside the cafeteria exit. So you will need to have a way to display or hold up the containers. A card table will do. And as your students are exiting every day from lunch, they will then be dumping their change, getting out their $1 that they brought or their $5, and deciding, oh, I'm going to put that in fifth grade, or I'm going to, second grade is up. Let's go find their jug to put that in. The other supplies you will need for Penny Wars is you'll need to promote it. So you'll need to have a flyer. Doesn't have to be fancy, just explaining when it is, what is the point system. And I think it's great for fundraising to say what the money is going to go to. So for our school, we had it pay for some of the arts programming that all students are getting access to. So we let our families know, hey, this is what the fundraiser is for. Once those flyers are made, those go into students' backpacks. And then I think an added bonus that can help your fundraiser is to ask your school to use their workroom and make, a couple of posters and laminate them to put on the gate entrances. We also, if you use a messaging, platform like Class Dojo or Family Tree, also putting the flyer on that so it has a lot of visibility. Once you do that piece, the other way to kind of get the students into it is to have the teacher who does morning announcements make announcements every morning about who's in the lead, adding some humor into it about so and so's making a comeback. It's anybody's game. And those are the main components of running a penny wars. The main thing to know when it comes to the end of the penny wars is whatever bank you bank with, your PTO or your PTA, you cannot just bring them the bag of, the bags of the coins. They have to be rolled. Most banks, you have to have them rolled. And so many schools will either roll them themselves, get a bunch of friends together and roll them themselves. They will invest in a coin counter from Amazon, but that's not necessary. The first year I did it, I found a family in our school who happened to have a small business and they volunteered to use their coin counter and they ran all the money and we got to deposit it. Another school used from Amazon, which was $11, these coin counting tubes that make the process go faster. So by no means do you need to invest in a coin counter, but that is an option. There's also Coinstar where you can deposit all the money and it will give you a check. The reason why I avoid Coinstar is because they take a significant cut. But that's still something that would, if that's what needs to be happening this year, that's still another way to go about it. So those are kind of the main takeaways. The other thing you want to think about is when do you want to have the penny wars? So we do it, the last 2 years I've done it after the winter break when I'm kind of refreshed. I'm kind of pumped up about fundraising. We got a second half of the year. And so I have been doing it the first full 5 days, which is normally the week after Martin Luther King Day. But this would also be a fundraiser that would be good in the fall as a welcome back to school. And I think you just want to be thinking about not doing it on a week where it's a short week, so there's only 4 days, or there's a testing going on, or there's some other big activity in the school. Those are the things that I would consider when I'm talking to my administration about when I want to do it. The last thing I would say is that the last 2 years I've done this is it has been me, and I created the table, decorated the containers, and I have done the counting. And I have just leaned on my communications team to blast off the social media stuff. And then I've relied on a treasurer who's had to make the deposit and who's helped me do some of the counting at times. But again, this can be, no more than, 2 or 3 people that are helping with this fundraiser. Very, very low commitment.
All righty. And just one question for you, Miss Weems. Um, were there any challenges, or if there were any challenges, how did you all overcome those challenges to make the penny wars become successful?
So the first year, a challenge that I kind of, there was a mental challenge for me was well, Penny Wars has to have this big theme. It has to look super pretty, like on a Pinterest board. And I have learned the last 2 years of doing this that the kids do not care about that. I have tried to make things pretty, and then when I go into the school 6 hours later, there's nothing left of it. The real fun factor of this and why families and teachers and kids get into this is the competitive, like, uh, community building among, like, we're the second grade and we're going to get bragging rights. So I think one of the mental challenges you can just kind of throw out the window is that it has to look a certain way to be effective. It does not. Um, and another challenge that I've learned is that the kids get so excited about it that you will run into some, natural, like, behavior stuff around it. So, like, this year I learned that it's really important to permanent marker on your jugs the grade, because kids were trying to swap out. Kids were trying to, move the jugs and hide them so their grade didn't get sabotaged. So you're just kind of wanting to think ahead of, like, what are the kids going to do? I'm not going to put a long tablecloth on because they're hiding it under the table. Next this year, I'll just put like a little covering on it. So other than that, there weren't any big challenges. I think the biggest challenge when you're thinking about it is just like, how am I going to roll the money? Do I have access to a small business? And it's always ask your bank. We bank with a bank that does not offer that, but many banks and many schools will go to their bank and say, hey, we're doing this fundraiser. Can we use your coin machines? And they will let you do it.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Miss Weems. I think you perfectly took us through the entire process of, Penny Wars and how a PTO can, get that activity going for the campus. So thank you so much. And so now that we have, an idea of what Penny Wars can do and how Penny Wars can raise school spirit, there's another way as well that can promote a positive school culture while still raising funds, and that is hosting a spirit night where families can get together and build relationships outside of school. So we have Miss Cervantes with us. And so, Miss Cervantes, can you share with us the process of spirit nights and how beneficial spirit nights have been at Cornelius Elementary?
Yes, I'm actually really excited to share our success with Spirit Nights. Cornelius PTO has been doing monthly Spirit Nights for almost 2 years now. And this is something that it really has helped build community outside of campus. We call them Spirit Nights, or you can call them Family Night Outs. We did have a lot of luck in, I guess, working with local businesses, but also like larger franchise restaurants as well. This is my favorite fundraiser just because it's like the lowest maintenance fundraiser. Like, it requires no volunteers. It does require a lot of planning ahead. So even though there's no like physical hours of setup, you do have a lot of setup as far as like applying for the fundraisers with different online applications, or even going in person and building those connections and relationships with the local businesses that you want to work with. And a lot of them are very receptive. A lot of them haven't done this before, so you do kind of have to kind of help them as far as like how it works and what the percentage usually is. It ranges between 15% to 33% is what we've been able to find. I do have a list that I'm also willing to share with Base so that they can help get this out to more PTOs. Because again, it's all, I guess, proximity to the school. So it is about keeping it local and um, choosing locations that parents and families are already visiting and spending money at. We do it once a month. It's usually the last Thursday of the month, and that's kind of, I guess, become a learned culture at our school. So when we started this last year, it was over the summer, and it was a great way for families to come out and connect with each other before school began. And we picked like a local place, like a pizzeria or Chuck E. Cheese, something uh, clear, nearby the school. And we asked people, wear red, wear your Cornelius shirt. And so when you walk in, you see an entire room full of Cornelius shirts. It gives you a really good sense of belonging. And for the kids, they see their teachers, they see past teachers, they get to meet new teachers that they'll have next year, make friends outside of their classroom or grade level. It's just a really positive experience for everyone. As far as picking the locations, that's probably the most difficult challenge because, like I said, it is about proximity. So you're trying to pick somewhere close, somewhere that people like. We have found that like the bigger box restaurants like Panda Express, Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, they're a little easier to work with because you can manage the account online, you can apply online. Some of the smaller restaurants, we have, like I said, we have had to kind of build that bridge with them. So it's not always something that people have done before, but they're very open to it. And these nights have been very successful. On average, I think our families spend about $2,000 when they attend, which generates a very nice profit for us with very minimal work. Um, we have found that it takes about 2 weeks to 4 weeks for us to receive the check back. With the larger restaurants, we are able to see our revenue online. So when you create your account, you apply for the fundraiser, you're actually able to check and see how successful was the event, how did it go, and then that kind of gives you a better idea of should we do this restaurant again, should we not, should we move away from it. But the other aspect of planning is planning ahead. So you're not the only one out there trying to apply for these. You have to plan ahead. And if you want that Friday before Halloween at Chuck E. Cheese, it's very profitable, but there's also other schools that might beat you to the punch. So, you really have to kind of pick when you want to do which location and apply for them early. Apply for them early and build relationships with the fundraising point of contact at those restaurants as well. Staying in touch with them, it always is a nice plus because they'll tell you like, hey, for instance, with Chuck E. Cheese, um, the lady there is very nice, and she actually let us know that if you book before April 20th, we're giving you an extra 5% towards your fundraiser. So those kind of things, they do come in handy. Um, I guess other than applying, it's just receiving the flyer from them. With the smaller restaurants, we have had to create our own Canva flyer, which isn't a huge deal. It's a little bit of work, but for the most part, it's just receiving the flyer, sharing it with the office manager at the school, and then they get it to the teachers and the Wednesday folders. And then you just promote on social media and Class Dojo.
All righty, Mr. Cervantes. Well, thank you so much. I know that I've been to a few spirit nights at some of the campuses here throughout HISD, and it is very exciting to see the kids interacting with their teachers and other kids, and then parents as well. It's really an atmosphere where you can do what you said, build relationships and network as well. So for those PTOs that may be getting started and, thinking about different fundraising ideas, what are some tips you can give them in regards to, getting the PTO Spirit Night started?
I really recommend the spirit nights just because, like I said, it doesn't require volunteers. I know a lot of PTOs post pandemic are struggling to get volunteers on campus and kind of get that back up and ramp it up. So this requires very limited work on parent part, volunteer part, but the funds are there. So it gives you enough funding to be able to do a different kind of fundraiser. Say you want to do a movie night, or maybe you want to do a dance. The funds that you get from Spirit Nights allow you to do different other kind of fundraisers and events.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you both. Thank you, Miss Weems, and thank you, Miss Cervantes, for joining us on our first HISD Pep Talk. Thank you for sharing your ideas and your suggestions for other parent organizations. We truly appreciate it. And I know that a lot of parent organizations are going to find this information very beneficial. So with that being said, stay tuned for our next pep talk coming in April on April 26th. Once again, thank you both for joining us.